Alright, this is the Team Electric Spirit Apritivi series, round 2 race. It's a ZRL Recon for round 2. We're doing the Watopia Figure reverse. Pretty much the reverse direction we normally did the figure 8, but raced it a few times. I was a little confused at the start of this one. Like, oh, wait a minute, we're all combined in categories. There's some B's and D's in here. What's up with that? I noticed, yeah, this was a combined cat race, though. Where are the A's? I see an A or red guy, but there's not that many. No one's flying through the pack. When I looked at the end, I think they went off one of the closer pens, so they're up the road. And since you can only see 100 people, and there's at least 200 B's and C's, I can't see everybody. So, better get closer to the front, especially with all the C's. Don't want to have a gap open up. I'm not really sure how many A's are in there, and our placement number doesn't really help, because it seems like we're getting everybody. There were only 150 B's in this race, at the start, 120, something like that. And it's showing 335. But we're moving up. Yeah, trying to get to the front. It looks like some B's at the front are pushing. Oh, and there's some A's coming back. I think some people go after the A's here. Now, they shouldn't be too far ahead. If I would have known and not been playing around with something with the mouse when the race started, maybe I would have gone up there. And also, I got in the pins pretty late, so it wasn't near the front. Yeah, now it's probably too late to really catch them. But hey, going into the S's, we've got 4 big efforts coming up with the sprints and the KOMs. We're doing both directions. First time over the reverse sprint. Starts with a little hill going into the bridge. Definitely don't want to get there. Go too close to the front going over the hill, so that you can gain speed down the hill and some draft through the bridge. Though, here I have a feather. Not very useful for the sprint here. I think in the ZRL we'll have a feather, burrito, and arrow. Definitely hope for that arrow. Burritos are just going to mess up the descent into the bridge. Gonna need an arrow to get a good sprint time. But hey, it looks like we've caught back up with all the rest of the B's who were off the front. I think we're at the front of the race. Yep, getting ready for this reverse sprint. Always fun, the seaside sprint course. Probably the most technical of all the sprints. It's like, how hard do you go up over this hill? And I think it all sort of depends on what other people do. Does someone decide to go from here? You want to be on their wheel. If they're really pushing through the bridge, but the pack speed behind you is going to be much higher, especially if you're going for fastest through segment points. You want to be a little bit further back. But then there's burritos, and it's a difficult situation to at least figure out. So here, somebody came out with an arrow. I'm like, oh, he's going to go. But he was using it to get over the hill. So there's no point. Let the pack just roll through. So yeah, there's that pack speed that you're going to get if you don't want to be hitting the front right at the bottom. Here we go, through the arch. And it looks like we're going to do 11 seconds for the best time. We did 12. Slower than it will be during the ZRL. Let's skip ahead a little bit. Right, now we're on skipping ahead a little bit to the reverse KOM. We just went through the start. I wasn't quite all the way in the back. I just sort of forgot where it started. But, you know, want to push through. I don't know if pushing through before the steep part is the best or the worst, but I think it might be. Because here, everyone's still trying to conserve. And over the hard part, unless you have, if you have a feather, you could wait. But even then, everyone's going to be pushing hard, so it'll be harder to get through the sticky drafts. If you can get to the front or into the draft, the people at the front here, I think you're perfect. I mean, here I'm drafting off an A who had dropped back. Then, yeah, M. Dur does some solid work taking us up the next section of the KOM here. And I've got a van, not very useful for this steep part. We're only going 20. I don't think we have any vans in the ZRL race. I think it's just Arrow, Burrito, and Feather. So really the Feather on the steep part, or Feather at the end, Arrow at the end, and Burrito maybe at the end if you're in the front, or you just bin it. But here we go, we're moving along in pretty good position. Mostly just trying to keep an eye on Dur to try to get to the finish of this KOM first. You know, a lot of points in this, both fastest through segment and first across the line points. I mean, if you hit both of those, that's 30. That's almost winning the race, or at least it's getting third in the race. And this is a little weird because we do have an A sort of sitting there in the group. But now he's not pushing as much. And a few of the other strong Bs, like Edmondson, Cummings, Grebe, Hageman, Walbeck. A lot of these are in languages I probably don't have the exact pronunciation. But these are all the guys who look to be the strongest in this race. We have at least 15, I think, here in the front group, or a little bit, a few just behind us. There's some A stragglers up the road. So here's a little downhill, uphill part where mostly just the groups are coming together, sort of preparing for the last little push to the line. There's a bit of an uphill here, I think. If you get a slingshot on this little downhill into the uphill, you can get some pretty good speed going up to the arch. But everyone's only a little bit gassed here, so you're not quite racing at like pure sprint power. You're sort of racing on the end of your anaerobic capacity. Because here we're up to almost 4 minutes. So here I put a little dig in. And I'm only doing 8 or 9. Lots of kilo. I think to win this in the ZRL race, depending, you might need some 10s to get to 11s to go over that. But we still did 3:47. Dur did a whole lot of work keeping the speed up. You can see it's in the minimap. It's pretty stretched out. Now I just need to catch back onto this group. We'll see if like the stragglers make it up to us. Yeah, on this downhill, it groups up pretty quickly. If you miss the boat, you're probably done. At least for the next sprint. And good placings on the forward KOM. Yeah, we've got our group. Another van, which they really need to do the setup like the ZRL. Now we're gonna skip ahead a little bit. Yeah, we're coming into the forward sprint. So it's the end of the 1% section where you all have to be on the power. Lots of draft. Someone could go here, but you're just tiring yourself out for the actual sprint. The little risers and S's beforehand, and then you still have the KOM to do. Almost juice isn't worth the squeeze there. You're just gonna tire yourself out. But yeah, up over this last little rise. And the group will be the group down into the sprint. This one's a longer sprint. And it's after you've had to push. You had a little bit of a break on the ocean underground or underwater. So you should be a little bit fresh, but sort of a triple whammy of the sprint, then the kill afterwards, and then forward KOM coming up. And even the S's aren't that much of a rest. So sort of the hardest part of the race here. So this sprint starts right when this corner goes around. This race supposedly had some sprint points for this, but no one else decided to come along. Maybe everyone was a little bit tired, which I could see after how hard that first forward, or the reverse KOM was. A little lonely. If I'm out in front like this, though, that's actually kind of bad here. Because unless I push through the bridge, well, my speed's going to be rather low hitting the start of this climb. And as you can see, I'm going to have to work really hard to get right back up to the speed that the group comes by me at. I really hope that in the ZRL there will be enough other people we can keep some momentum. Or you could, and if you have enough, you could really push there and put many people on sort of the hurt box on this little section, which should tire them out for them to make an effort on the forward KOM. Yeah, I can sort of see from my power trace, that's a lot of red going up over this. It's rare that I think I've ever actually had to sprint and then go this little hill. It's like there just haven't been enough points races on the Watopia forward sprint, which seems a little odd. But that's sort of the way of it, I guess. So, yeah, here we are after the S's, down through the start-finish into the KOM. And I got a feather through the sprint, which was nice because you can use it here in the KOM. It is nice that there's another power-up spot over the start-finish line, which I had forgotten when I went through the sprint. But here I'm going to use it early. We'll see. And we'll see how go pretty hard at the start here. Though a lot of this is a feather giving me quite a bit of extra. I mean, when you use the feather, you might as well kick the power up a little bit. But see, now I'm doing low sixes. Behind me, people are in the sixes. And I've got like 20 meters. I wonder if I could hold this all the way to the top. That would just be super hard. And up at 160 heart rate, for me, that's really getting up there. And as soon as I hit 163, 165, I either have to start a sprint or back off. Unless I want to stop, in essence. Or, you can go higher as long as I can get a rest. From 160, I could drop back and still push pretty hard. Here's someone, people that caught me going by, making a good effort. I still have enough to follow. See, I'm at 160. Yeah, once I hit 163, I'm going to start going into the hurt locker. Maybe my cadence could be a little higher. Maybe shift. I'm not sure. I do like grinding on these short KOMs. Yeah, it looks like I'm gonna make it past under the banner. We have a like three of us have a pretty, a few seconds on the main group. 151, which is one of the fastest Watopia KOMs I've done when I've been a B. Following some A's, I've gone faster. And hey, I got an arrow. That's nice. And we'll see. It looks like the group behind us, yeah, if one of these other guys wants to really go, we could hold them off for a while, but looks like there's still 15 people, 10 people in that group. I don't see any reason to push and try to hold them off. I've got an arrow. If I didn't have an arrow, maybe. Might be worth it to at least start pushing. There's also some A's floating around, so you're never quite sure what they're going to do. The really interesting thing might have been to try to kick it up and catch the A group in front of us. That's 10 seconds, that's a lot. I'm still recovering from the other, from the effort. Oh, it looks like the group's back. Someone dropped their arrow. Probably should not have. That group was coming back. I think it looks like we'll be able to... We have a 15-second lead, I believe, over the second B group at this point. We might be able to see it when everyone comes by me on this little rise. Yeah, it's like 10 people. Yeah, I see it just for a second that the group behind's like 15 seconds. But they also have some A's in there. It looked like the A's were going to start pulling, so I think they did. So yeah, now we're a mile away from 2 miles from the finish, and that second group with an A is driving the pace. And the rest of the B's they're working pretty hard too, so they made it across for the end. It's a good push by them. I think the front group, we were all just sort of waiting, recovering. Get the sprint going in the legs. Yeah, so not too much further. Just go to the back. Make it easy. So coming up out of the underwater, got a little rise going to the finish. Or a kilometer away. Just sort of watching the front, seeing what's up there. See who goes. And someone moved up. Oh, there's people in the front. They're going. Does seem early. But I'm like, wait. Someone's coming with me? Alright. And it was Greb. I'm like, oh, better chase him. He was definitely up there on the forward KOM. I think if no one goes, he holds this all the way to the line. If we all look at each other for just a little bit longer. Like, if he was here when we all went, we wouldn't have caught him. But I got Hageman coming up behind. He's got his arrow. I didn't drop mine. Or put the full sprint on until there. And we make it past when his arrow runs out. That arrow is going to be really useful if you get it at the end of that forward KOM. Hey, it was a good recon. Should be a fun ZRL race. Good win. Alright, see you in the next one.